welcome to today's masterclass on how to turn procrastination into productivity. I am Jessica Barkley. I am the Lifestyle Coach UK and also the founder of A Happy Lifestyle Club private membership. I help people find happiness through decluttering their physical, mental and virtual spaces. So I teach everything around time management, organisation, goal setting, all the fun stuff that makes life possible. But for me personally, I am the original inept organiser. This is not a natural state of being. I am not naturally organised, I'm not naturally tidy, but I massively benefit from having all those things in my life. So I had to make a conscious decision to learn how to be those things, to learn the strategies and steps, like the things I'm going to talk about today, to be able to live the life I wanted to live, align with who I was and how I wanted to show up in the world. And so I'm not coming at you as someone that's just found this natural and easy. I struggle with this consistently, but I've used all the strategies I'm going to talk about today to make sure that I'm still moving forward towards the goals that I'm wanting to do, that I'm not carrying guilt for just wasting time, that I'm actually happy at the end of the day that I have done my best and move my life forward in the way that I want to. Something else quite interesting about me is I am also ADHD, so very much know the struggle is real. I often attract other ADHD people or people who are undiagnosed as well into my life, so be warned, by the end of this you might be wanting to go and get a diagnosis too. But it does mean that my strategies are very, very realistic. I got as far as I did in life pre-diagnosis because what I didn't realise is I was doing a lot of ADHD strategies without realising it. But whether you're ADHD or not, these strategies will be very beneficial for making sure you are turning that procrastination into productivity. So what is procrastination? What is procrastination? Basically, it's the action of delaying or postponing something. And sometimes we procrastinate for so long that the thing is now irrelevant and we don't have to do it at all. So sometimes we delay to the point of no return as well. And the causes of procrastination are hugely debated, and they will vary from not only person to person, but situation to situation. So one day you might be procrastinating because of X, and the next day you might be procrastinating because of Y. And it is quite helpful to identify in the moment why you are procrastinating, so that you can use the right tool to fix the job. So we're going to go through 10, it's my other hand, 10 strategies today that you can use. They can be used interconnected as well. So there's probably like a whole variation within there as well. But it's good to know a few different ones so you can tap into what you need in that moment on that day. Now, first of all, you need to spot that you are procrastinating. Because if you can't fix a problem if you don't know there is a problem. So first we spot First we spot that we are procrastinating, then we need to try and work out why, and then we can use the right tool. If you just go straight to using any old tool, you're probably going to be taking a little bit longer, putting more effort in than you need to. So ideally we spot. My best way for spotting if I'm procrastinating is my 3 priorities rule. So I like rules. That's the autistic side of my brain, loves a rule. So I have my rule, my 3 priorities every day. And we do this in the Facebook group. I have a post every day in the Facebook group, and in the members WhatsApp, we do this as well. And we say, what are your top 3 priorities for the day? You say it's maximum of 3 things. It can be less, but it can't be more. And they need to be specific and tick offable. And I say that each of those 3 priorities can have no more than 3 steps to them. Okay? So what defines a step? Is then what people say. They're like, what's a step? For me, a step is something that doesn't feel overwhelming. So I want to be able to break, so as a whole, it might feel overwhelming, but broken it into 3 steps, it needs to not, each individual step needs to not feel overwhelming. If there's more than 3 steps, it needs to be more than one priority. So you have to break it down to 2 priorities and maybe lose one of the other ones. And this is setting that realistic intention for the day. Now, this isn't going to be like brushing your teeth, or it might be, if you really struggle to shower each day, it might be a shower might be a big enough thing for it to be a priority, but the day-to-day little bits aren't included in that, because that's why it's only 3, because it allows life to go on around that. It allows for emergency emails to come in from the boss, it allows for your kid's school to say she's split her chin open on the ice in the playground. Yes, that did happen recently. And it allows for that because it's only 3 priorities. And it might be that you get some more done at the end, but we start with our 3. We start with those 3 manageable steps. And those steps might vary from day to day. You might wake up one day with loads of mental and physical energy, and therefore an unoverwhelming step is going to be much bigger than if you woke up on a day where you were drained, exhausted, you didn't sleep well, you were really stressed. What needs to be your step size on that kind of day might be a lot smaller because it's a lot more overwhelming when you are exhausted and things. So step size will vary day to day. That's why we set it on each day. I think it's very hard to do all your planning for the week at the beginning of the week. I do a weekly review, I do a weekly planning session, but checking in with my 3 priorities and making sure that I'm tapping into what energy I've got available is really key. And from that, you can then go, oh, I'm not doing one of my 3 priorities. Am I procrastinating? So if we're going off track from those 3 priorities, chances are that we are procrastinating. And that is where one of the easiest ways to spot if we are procrastinating, because we're like, not doing those 3 priorities. So for me, that is how I stay on track and identify if I've started procrastinating. Procrastination queen here. I don't want to, but it still happens, and this is how I keep myself moving forward. And then I said the next step is to try and work out why you are procrastinating. It could be it's boring, you're exhausted, there's fear, there's overwhelm, stress, ADHD is a big cause of procrastination in and of itself, and maybe another neurodiversity as well. But if you've got a little bit of an idea about why this is creeping in, then it can really help you with which tactic tool you're going to use to move forward. Fear is also a really interesting one because it could be the fear of the thing itself. Sounds like a Harry Potter line. It could be the fear of doing the thing itself. So I have something really techie I need to sort out, and I know I'm gonna really want to procrastinate on it because I'm fearful of doing it because I know it's gonna be really hard. And it's so just want to keep it at a distance and do everything else apart from that thing, but I can identify I'm scared of doing it and therefore I need to buckle down and do it. It's probably not going to be as bad as I think it is. But sometimes the actual thing itself isn't the scary thing, it's what comes next. So for example, sometimes we could fear doing our marketing because we're actually scared of getting loads more clients. Like what would that look like? How would that change? And it doesn't need to be a negative thing that happens next. So maybe we're procrastinating searching for a new house. We want to move areas, we want to change our jobs. It's a really nice thing, like starting a new job, moving to a new area, really fun. Terribly scary at the same time because change is scary. Even change for the better is going to feel hard. So sometimes we will procrastinate what seems like a lovely task that will get us a lovely outcome, but there is still fear that's causing the procrastination because it's still change. So making sure that we are noting that, and then we can help push forward it in the right way. Now, it's okay, we're not always going to be able to identify the exact cause of our procrastination. You don't want to spend too much time pulling apart why you are procrastinating. It's just helpful to select the right tool, but sometimes you just need to move forward. Don't let the fear of perfection be the something of the good, like the death of the good or something along those lines. You know what I mean? Don't let like finding the perfect solution stop you from just moving forward. Right, step one, option one, tool one. Let's give a tool. Tool one, the steps are too big and overwhelming. So in the same way that we talked about having those 3 steps are a priority, sometimes we'll start procrastinating on something because it feels too big, and that's where we need to bring that step down to reduce it down to something less overwhelming. But if you are struggling to spot the next level down, you're like, I don't know how to reduce this. Very simple way is the time. So if a task feels overwhelming, but I'm only going to do 5 minutes of it, I'm only going to do 10 minutes of it. Chances are once you start, you'll get into it and you'll want to keep moving it forward. But start by being like, I'm gonna have 10 minutes and then I'm gonna walk around, or 10 minutes and then I'm gonna have a rest, or 10 minutes and then I'm gonna do 10 minutes of ironing, or whatever it is. I know not everyone's as weird about cleaning as me, but whatever it is that you want to break it up with, maybe that you're gonna break up those 10-minute blocks. Set a timer. I could not do life without my two, I'm going to call them Alexes because otherwise they'll talk to us during the video. But you hopefully will guess what I mean. Those little robotic robotic speakers that are connected to Amazon that do all that thing. Yeah, we have two of those in the house. We have a female and a male Alex in different rooms, so that I can shout at them whenever I want to set timers. Or to set reminders. Like if I put the oven on to cook something, I will set a reminder to remind me to put the thing in the oven because ADHD. And then I don't just leave the oven on for 2 hours and forget to eat. So they're very useful little robots to have to set timers, because chances are if I pick up my phone to set a timer, I'm going to get distracted. There are also, I think, I did have one on my desk, but my daughter likes walking off of it, so I think she's got it at the moment. You can also get these little time cubes as well that are quite good for setting quick timers. So if you search time cubes on Amazon, you'll see what I mean. They're just like a little plastic cube with 4 set times on them. So you just flick a switch, turn the cube so the time you want is on the top, and it will run to set the timer running. So instead of having to pick up your phone and things, or have an egg timer, if you don't want to have the Alex speakers and things. But just reduce it down, whatever way that you can reduce it down. Go slow, just don't stop. Little steps forward. And I always reminded of that graphic where there's 2 ladders and one's got rungs really far apart and the person's like can't get to the first rung because it's so big, and then the other one's got loads of rungs but they're really close together, so it's actually a lot faster for the person to climb up because there's lots of little steps and they can just climb up the ladder. Should recreate that graphic at some point. It was for it was an environmental post. It was about being good at like protecting the planet, and it's just basically you don't have to be perfect, just start moving in the right direction. But I think it can apply to so many things, making sure that your steps are reasonable. Tool number 2 is understanding your motivation for the thing you are procrastinating on. So if you're not sure why you are doing it, dig deep into the motivation behind it and try and identify what that is, because that can help spur us forward. So is it that it benefits your family or your finances, or I don't know, what is it? Why are you doing this thing? It's to look after your health. You've got to do that thing because it will help move your business forward. Whatever it is, try and find that motivation. If you can't find your motivation for it, so if you can't work out why and your bigger why behind doing this thing, and it's not always the thing that we want to do, sometimes it's the consequence of doing the thing. So I like having clean toilets, don't necessarily like cleaning the toilets, but my motivation to clean the toilets is I like having a clean toilet. So look, if you can't find either of those, you need to really think about why you're doing this thing. Like, has it come from an external source? Is it my boss has said this is the best way and I really disagree? Like, what is it that made this appear on your to-do list or be a thing that you needed to action? If the answer is you don't want to do it and there's no reason why it benefits your life or the bigger picture, you need to find a way of getting out of it. And that sounds very negative, but why on earth would you not want to get out of things that add nothing to your life and seem pointless? It might take a little bit of time because you might have to present another solution to somebody, like your boss or your child or your partner or your friend or whatever it is. You might have to present an alternative, or find someone you can outsource it to, or just apologise and say I'm not doing it, sorry. You don't even have to say sorry, just say no. So there might need to be a step to get out of the thing. It's rare that we can just identify we don't want to do something and then just not do it. There's usually some sort of consequence we have to deal with. But it's better to deal with that consequence and start moving forward, living a life in line with who you are and how you want to show up in the world. And that is about using your time in a way that benefits you and benefits the bigger picture of you. So the bigger picture of me is like my daughter, my partner, for me the environment, I'm very passionate about that, my community, my membership. It needs to benefit something within that sphere, my close family, friends. Otherwise I'm like, why am I doing this? If it has no benefit to any of that, then I'm not doing it. Not doing it. So tool number 2 is understanding your motivation. Tool number 3 is to declutter your mind and or space. So this could be as simple as clearing down your desk, popping it all into a drawer so you can get the thing done. It might not be like a long-term declutter. You want to make sure that you then go back to that drawer when you've got a moment to do it. So when you've create some space to deal with the longer term problem of that clutter. Or it could be that it's not normally clutter. You just need to take it off the desk so that you can deal with the thing in hand. And same with your mind. Maybe you need to spend 10 minutes journaling about something that's on your mind so that you've decluttered your mind, ready to focus on the task that you need to focus on. Maybe you need to just write down a few other to-dos that are buzzing around in your skull so that you can then focus on what it is that you are currently procrastinating on. So taking that time to declutter your mind or your space. We predominantly live in a fairly decluttered house now. I mean, I declutter as part of my job, so be a little embarrassing if I didn't, but I'm also a realistic human being. I do classify myself as a minimalist now. I haven't always, and as you can see, I still have like things behind, potted plants, candles on the windowsill. Like I still have things. I have scatter cushions and rugs, but everything serves a purpose within my life. That's what, for me, minimalism is about. It's about just having the things that really matter and important to me. And I like my space to look nice, but I don't want additional clutter that isn't necessary. So moving forward, it's really good to create a decluttered space in general, but maybe you just need to do like a mini area. Just clear down a mini area so you can get on with the task in hand. So just clear it all out, move it to the side so you can just focus on what it is that you are trying to do. So that would mean clearing your computer, like moving your laptop and your phone out of the room so you can get your workout done. Like it could mean a variety of things. But declutter the space so you can get cracked on with what it is you're trying to do. And then hopefully make some plans to do some more decluttering in the future so you always have a decluttered space. Number 4 is probably the heaviest of all of them, because it requires quite a long-term approach. And that is that you might have neurodiversity or another condition. I was about to say affliction, but that's not right at all. Another condition. Maybe you do have an affliction, something that is beyond procrastination, but that procrastination is a symptom of. So for me, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, that also impacts it as well, and finding out more about that as well in the moment. Is there something diagnosed or undiagnosed going on? If you feel like this procrastination is becoming like a core problem in your life, like a really big deal, and you're trying all the other strategies and you still feel like you're struggling, like you're moving through sludge and you're never being able to stay on track or focused at all, it might be worth looking at if there's something additional going on. Now this doesn't necessarily need to be like a neurodiversity, or it could be struggling with a sort of mental illness at the time, and it could also be physical illness. So if you're realise you're procrastinating things because you're always exhausted, then it might be you need to look at why you're exhausted. And if you're fit and healthy and normally and sleeping and drinking and doing all the other things you're meant to do to be fit and healthy, but you're still always exhausted, you need to find out why. Now for me, that was one of the driving reasons I found out about my ADHD and ASD, is because I was always exhausted and we didn't know why. And now I realise that I find like life outside of these 4 walls really tiring. Like I have a limited capacity for peopling. I'm great on camera and I can do performing like a great public speaker on a big stage, a few hundred people, fine, absolutely fine, love it. Talking to people, small talk. I can do big presentations, so I don't mind public speaking. I don't like small talk. I find that really, really exhausting. But without understanding myself deeper and spending more time with me and allowing me to feel the feelings that I was feeling, react how I wanted to react, and get to know who I was beyond the mask, I never would have found that out. And now I can adapt my strategies. I can be more at peace with myself. Which in turn makes me less likely to procrastinate when I'm being gracious with myself. And all of that was for understanding the underlying reason, because mine was becoming such a big thing and I was finding it so hard to stay on track. The reason I got so far in life before I got diagnosed was that I was actually doing a lot of ADHD sort of using a lot of ADHD strategies, that's the wrong word there, using a lot of ADHD strategies already. That's what helped me move forward. I just didn't register that I was using them because they were ADHD. And it's very beneficial with time management and organisation if you really struggle with that kind of thing, to use some ADHD strategies. You don't need to be ADHD to use ADHD strategies. It just turned out that for me, a big red flag that I was ADHD was how beneficial those strategies were for me on a massive scale. So I put this in the middle because it's a bit more of an intense one to think about. And that means we can end on some some smilier ones. But I cannot recommend highly enough how important it is to get to know you, your body, your brain, your mental health. And I've realised for me, I always used to be like physical health, mental health, and then I've added the brain as like a separate one. Because it's not just your personality, but in that it's personality, neurodiversity, how you view the world, all that kind of thing, I think is all built into that, and it's not always covered under the concept of mental health. So think about it as 3 separate aspects when you're looking at procrastination and trying to create more productivity in your life. Number 5, nourish your brain. This bad boy, all the water. Fruit, banana, apple, grab something, ideally something that's not going to result in some sort of energy crash. So these I've got sat on my windowsill are very yummy. I treated myself to some Percy Pigs today. They're very yummy, but the chances are that they will create an energy crash. Whereas something like fruit that's got the good sugars that your brain thrives on are going to be much more helpful. So make sure that in the short term and the long term that you're finding ways to make sure you are supporting your brain and functioning and moving forward. And that can often be why you're procrastinating, because the next thing you need to do is within your capacity, but your brain is like, I'm pooped, recharge me through food and drink. Because sometimes it's not just rest, which is our number 6. Number 6 is rest. So that could be sleep, actual sleep. It could be that you just need to go and put your feet up. I've got a lovely little recliny chair behind me, so I can recline on that with my fluffy blanket, put some nice music on for 10 minutes. If you are the kind of person that can power nap, I am so envious. I really struggle to get up from the power nap. So power naps can be, I will use them if I'm gonna completely crash otherwise, but I also have to be aware if I'm going to power nap, that might be it for the day for me. So if you can power nap, great, but set lots and lots of alarms to try and help you wake up again. But it could be, yeah, just some calm, peace and quiet. It could be that you have an early night that night, have a little lie the next morning and then try and tackle the thing. It might be that you need to move the thing to another day, so you can do that. But rest. Sleep and rest are not the same thing. Sleep can be restful. It can also be traumatic if you're a big dreamer like me. But make sure that you are re-energized, ready to take on that task. Number 7, movement break. Now, moving your body is always going to be a productive thing to do because this is very good for your health. But sometimes your procrastination is because your body needs to move. So if I've been like sat at my desk, typing away, working on my computer, and then I move on to my next task and I start procrastinating on it, and it's also working away on my computer, that might be my signal that I need to get up and move. I might just run up and down the stairs, I might go and empty the dishwasher, I might put some washing out, I might do some push-ups, I might do some star jumps, because who doesn't love a star jump? I mean, it's got the word star in the title, so it's very cool, straight away. But go and move something, go and do something, put a song on and dance about, and then come back. You'll have got your endorphins going as well, particularly if you're having a groove to a good cheesy number. See, I'm now grooving around so much I made the camera shake. But go and have that little dance break. It'll be great for your body, but it will also help move back from the procrastination into a productivity phase too. Number 8, and my favourite word of all time, gamification. Such a good word. Let's say again, gamification. Gamification, yeah. sound like Joey from Friends there. I love gamification, and it covers a huge variety of things. So timers, alarms, accountability, co-working. So if you don't know, now you do. I run co-working usually once a week. I know next week there's 2 sessions. I'm doing a Monday and Thursday next week, but Thursday's my usual day, 1 till 3 UK time. It's free. I always put them on Eventbrite, so if I'm doing extra ones, they'll be on there. So if you follow me on Eventbrite, and I'll put the link for that somewhere near this video, follow on Eventbrite, they will always come up on there. If you are a member of Happy Lifestyle Club, you don't need to sign up for any of those. I will always pop the links into the WhatsApp chat, and so you don't have to sign up for things. And if there's ever any masterclasses, workshops, things like this, whether they are included exclusively for the membership or not, I always upload a video version to the membership so that you've got easy access. Part of the joy of being in the membership is I want to make your life as easy as possible. And the co-working, we do a timer on the screen, so we have timed 5-minute breaks. We work for 10 minutes, then we have a 5-minute break, then we have 3 25-minute ones with 5 minutes in between, and then we end on a 10-minute one. So it's a total of 2 hours. We set our goals in between. We all put in the chat what we're going to do. You've got timers on the screen, so you know how much time is coming. You've got some nice background music, so you don't even have to like find a playlist on your phone or anything to get into the zone. But it's part of the gamification, and it's super fun. And as I said, the sessions are free. I did a Monday one this week and it was really popular, so I'm doing another Monday one next week, so I've got quite a lot of desk work to get through at the moment, so it's something nice and easy that I can run, that obviously beneficial to you guys. But I have the space in my schedule at the moment to do an additional one, so I thought I would. But Thursdays is a fixed block in my diary, unless things like I have a booked appointment or something, which is what happened last week, which is why we had 2 this week. Bonus round. I also like things like I'll put the kettle on to boil for something, and then I'll try and do the thing before the kettle finishes boiling. And I did have someone ask in the live workshop, they said, what happens if you don't get the thing done before the kettle finishes boiling? And I was like, I will sometimes boil the kettle 2 or 3 times, but the thing is, it's the pressure of getting started that we need with something like that. So it might be you need a longer window of time. So my dishwasher is 1 minute 30, my washing machine is 1 minute, 1 hour 30, my washing machine is 1 hour 20, so that's quite a good chunk of time for me to get the house clean, and not the hoovering, but I can clean the whole house in that amount of time. And having that, I want to get it done before the dishwasher's finished or the washing machine's finished kind of thing, is part of gamification. That beautiful word, gamification. So make sure you are tapping into that and using it as your starting block. But if you need to reboil the kettle twice, it's fine. You can do a song. Maybe you set up a little playlist that's about 10 minutes long with 3 songs, so you know that's like your 10-minute task list playlist. We have a couple of playlists in the membership as well, like a motivation one, a focus work one, and then we have a pottering one, just because sometimes it's nice to just have a potter about, isn't it? Pottering playlists and things. So maybe it is you're gonna jump and be like, I'm gonna listen to the whole playlist, it's gonna get it done before the playlist finishes. Anything like that is gonna be included in gamification. Number 9 is change your environment. So this could be that you go and work in a different room. It could be you go and work in a different building. So I could go from working at my desk here to working in the kitchen. I could work at the library or in the cafe at the gym. I could go to an appointment earlier, so I could do some work there. And all of that is kind of changing the environment around. Worst case scenario, co-working online is also a change of environment. Even though it's just like having someone on a screen in front of you, it's kind of the lesser of the environment change, but for me that still does count. I struggle with agoraphobia from time to time, so I like to have that kind of tool but without having to leave my house. So move to the kitchen, or put on a co-working session, or run a co-working session, and one of those is really, really beneficial for still being able to use that changing environment strategy. And number 10, and one of my, this was a big game changer for me. I'd not seen anyone else come up with this concept anywhere. And it's what I call positive procrastination. So what I find hardest about procrastination isn't that I don't necessarily get the thing done. It's the guilt I then carry for not getting the thing done. It's the guilt I then carry for having wasted my time. Particularly once I had my daughter, for me, any time wasted is time I don't get with her. And once I had that as a framework, I found it really, really difficult when I did waste time. Now, it's important to note that sitting on the sofa watching Netflix isn't necessarily a waste of time. Like, hanging out with your friends isn't necessarily a waste of time. Scrolling on social media isn't necessarily a waste of time. It's whether you've chosen to do it or you found yourself doing it accidentally when you didn't mean to. So I quite like having a bit of a doom scroll on social media sometimes. I really struggle to just watch a TV programme. Again, ADHD, little brain. So I'll have a little doom scroll and have the TV on, because actually bizarrely that helps my brain switch off, because there's enough going on that it's stimulated for me to also be able to let some of it rest. Sometimes it feels like I've got 3 different brains and I just need to get a couple of them occupied on something else, and then the other one can have a snooze. Whereas if I try and get all 3 to have a snooze at the same time, they tell me no. So sometimes it's just nice to have that kind of like veg time, but I want to have actively chosen to do that, as opposed to if I had an essay to write, a course to write, and then I found myself doom scrolling while also watching Netflix, then it would be a waste of time, because I haven't chosen to do it and I'm not engaging in it willingly and in a productive way. But sometimes things that appear to be unproductive are the most productive thing we can do. Sometimes rest is the most productive thing that we can do, and we just need to be making that like active choice to be doing that with our time, and then it's not wasted as far as I'm concerned, as long as we've chosen to do it. So by having a positive procrastination list, when I do hit those moments where I'm like, I just need to procrastinate for 10 minutes, I just want to do, that's just what I want to do, I just need to do something, I have a physical list that I can check. It's at the back of this bad boy. So this is my weekly to-do list. If you're in the membership, we've definitely talked about this before, but you may have seen me talk about this before. There is a video in the membership about setting up your weekly to-do list. But at the back, I have a couple of longer term lists, and one of them is my productive procrastination list. So a couple of examples is edit the photos on my phone, so I'll go through and delete duplicates. Or if I've got like 8 pictures of my daughter doing the same thing, pick my favourite kind of thing. Not quite duplicates, but too many. Go through like my screenshots, because quite often I've screenshots and I've forgotten about it, so I'll email it to myself so I actually action it. I might clear out my purchase emails, so if I make a purchase, I have a folder in my emails that I move the invoice into until the thing arrives and I'm definitely sure I'm keeping it. If it's something that I need to long term keep the invoice, then I'll save it as a PDF. But note, you do not need to keep your Amazon emails ever, because Amazon stores all that information on Amazon. But for smaller companies, I tend to keep the invoice, particularly if I've not ordered from them before. So every now and again, I'll go into my purchase emails and go through, yep, I've had these, I've used them, I've eaten it. Most of the things I buy tend to be consumables, so once I've eaten it, it's gone. Once I've cleaned with it, it's gone. So I can definitely get rid of the purchase invoice then. So I'll do those, so it's still a productive use of my time. I still feel good at the end of having done it, but it's given me enough sort of bandwidth to recharge, recuperate, get that focus back for the thing that I was originally procrastinating on. And so I have found that to be a massive game changer with letting go of the guilt of procrastination, because it's still positive procrastination. It's still doing something I'm like actively choosing to do. So when I'm not, that's my favourite go-to when I'm not sure why I don't want to get this done. If gamification particularly isn't working, I usually set a timer to positively procrastinate too. But if all the others don't feel like they're the right fit, or I don't know which one to go with, I will allow myself like a 15-minute procrastination from something from my positive procrastination list. So I'm still being productive. So that's it, my top 10 strategies on how to turn procrastination to productivity from me, the original inept organizer. If you want any additional support and help, do make sure you're getting engaged in the Facebook group, or if you're ready to become a member and have all the fabulous features, there is a huge load of stuff, all the things in the membership. So depending on how you prefer to learn, there will be something for you. We've got audios, we've got videos, we've got courses, we've got live workshops, all the fun stuff. We do a monthly session on goal planning live with everyone on Zoom. We do additional masterclasses that are for members only. We have a WhatsApp group for our top 3 priorities, as well as just general conversation and support. We have a book club. There's so much going on in the membership, and it's only £12 a month. So, and there's no contract, so you can come try it for a month, see how you get on, dip in, dip out as you like, no tie-in whatsoever. So go over to www.thelifestylecoachuk.com/club to find out more about that and get yourself signed up. Thanks so much, and I will see you soon. Ta-ta for now.
If you want to be happy, it's gonna have to be a lifestyle switch. And if you want to be happy, you're gonna have to do the work in deep. Quick fixes become fads and diets to take back your time and live your life for you. 'Cause if you want to be happy, it's gonna have to be a lifestyle switch.